welcome back to the channel, you guys. Welcome back to the boat gang. Alright, we got the vintage MRP tunnel hull on the block. Alright, we're going to focus on the outboard motor. This is a Kyosho Dolphin 2 outboard motor that came on the Kyosho Wavemaster. It's not the stock motor for this boat. It's kind of like an upgrade motor. Okay, in the last video we were running this 1410 Castle Creations motor, 3800 kV. We actually ended up getting 48 miles an hour out the old girl. I was tickled to death, boy. Toward the end of the video we actually twisted the cable. Okay, we're going to crack this bad boy open, see what's going on in there, and upgrade the driveline. I got some stub shafts, I got some flex cables, Teflon liners, we got some sleeve bushings, bearings, I got some K&S brass tubes. We're going to kind of jerry rig and get something to work, upgrade it so it'll handle some power. I have some captured ball ends right here. We're going to put adjustable turnbuckles on here. So basically the only reason I'm putting those on the boat is to make a few guys happy. You know, I think I was getting under some people's skin using these guys right here. We actually ended up stripping out the servo horn in our last video. Had a backflip. The boat backflipped with this Power HD 40 kilogram servo and stripped out the horn. Okay, it has nothing to do with the links I was using. Nothing to do with the angles. Just cheap plastic. So we're going to replace that, upgrade the ball links, okay, and upgrade the motor so it handles some power. Probably going to be a long video, so stick around. Big B with Ironclad RC. So let's get to it, you guys. I already got the screw off for the motor. Basically, you got your coupler and the 3mm shaft that I used from a Dremel. This cable I'm using, the one that broke, it's not made for fast electric boat use. It's not made for high load applications, and that's probably why it broke. Like I had mentioned in a previous video, I just got this boat from a subscriber, and I basically put the boat together with stuff that I had laying around the shop. You know, really didn't have a whole lot of money in it, and it actually worked great with this motor. But once I put some power on it, we twisted the cable. Okay, so let's figure out what we need to do here. All right, I got a couple different little variations that I think may work, that I kind of gonna go over with you. And I basically know what I'm going to use, but I'm just kind of going over a couple different options. So you got the flex cable that goes into the motor. It's got a square end. This is the stock cable. This is the reason I basically upgraded my cable in the first place. It had two square ends. I couldn't find a coupler that fit it. So, you know, I used what I had. All right, so basically to get the two halves apart here, we actually have to take the drive dog off. Then you have a washer that retains this ring. The ring is what keeps the two halves together, keeps the bushing in place. Okay, so we're going to take that off. Basically can take the two halves apart. All right, and then you got the innards. You got a .130 liner, which I think that's the reason why my flex cable broke. You see where it broke at? Okay, see right where it broke at? The end of this Teflon liner, it's wallered out. It's actually got a little crack in it now. I didn't realize it had a crack. Basically how it works is this is the stock stub shaft that accepts a square end. Okay, and the way it works, it has these 5mm bushings. Okay, this is a 5mm shaft. This is 4mm. All right, and it basically sits in the lower unit like this. Okay, then you have this ring that goes over the lower unit that holds the two halves together where the bushing is, and then a washer, okay, that holds that ring on. All right, so you got to think about a lot of different stuff when you're doing this. Okay, so that's basically how it sits. Now, like I said, this is a 5mm shaft. A 3/16 shaft is 4.76mm. Okay, so you're going to have a lot of slop. If you just drop a 3/16 shaft in there, you're going to have a lot of slop. You feel me? So, so what I think I'm going to do to alleviate that slop, I have a couple different options here. My first option was to use this old Aquacraft bushing. Okay, I could cut it down so it fits in this half, and it would actually work out perfect. Okay, the only problem I'm encountering with this Aquacraft bushing is that it's kind of tight fitting on the 3/16 shaft. So When the prop shaft is spinning, it's going to basically spin that damn bushing inside the plastic. Okay, this is actually designed to be set into a brass tube, which I also kind of considered that. Putting a brass tube in there, setting the bushing in it, and running it like this. Okay, so I kind of like, you know, eliminated that idea. I'm just going over my thought process, okay? So my next option was to use a 3/16 K&S brass tube, okay? Cut the brass tube, basically run the K&S tube, basically like this bushing would work, okay? Basically run it just like that would work. Cut it to size and drop it into this area right there. That would support our prop shaft, okay? No play. That would work, okay? That would work. I think I found a better solution, so I'm going to use these loose fitting bushings just as basically a support to support the shaft in the lower unit, and use these OCTURA sleeve bearings, okay? This is a sleeve bearing. This is what they use in stingers and struts. This is a replacement bearing, okay? Basically going to put it right there, right behind that stock bushing, and another bushing behind it, okay? And then what I'm going to do is put the two halves together. I've already figured it out. It's going to work. Put the two halves together, get a drill bit that's just one step smaller than that drill bit so that that bushing sits tight in there. I'm going to put the two halves together, put that ring on there, slowly drill it out, okay? Or grind it out, whatever. That bushing is the perfect size to sit right in between the two bearings, bushings, the two stock bushings, okay? So that's what I'm going to do. Alright, that's basically going to support our prop shaft. I have one of these prop shafts on a cable. It's glued up. I used some JB Weld. I'm waiting for it to cure out. That'll be tomorrow. A few minutes for you guys. But what I did was I took a little bit off the end right here where the flex cable gets glued into place. So it's not quite as long, okay? And it's basically going to sit right there. Alright, so what I'm trying to find right now is a 1032 die. Okay, I want to actually cut this prop shaft short because it's really long. We don't need it that long, and I don't even think I have a 1032 die right now. Might have to go buy one, but I want to cut some more threads. Basically put an old drive dog on, crimp down on that drive dog, cut my threads down to about right there, and cut all this off. You know what I'm saying? So we don't have a big gap right there. You feel me? Which I hadn't cut a drive dog slit. I can put that drive dog basically anywhere. But this is what I'm going to do. Okay, that's what I'm going to do right there. Alright, that's going to work. So there's actually another way to do it. And it's probably the right way to go about doing this. Okay, get your 3/16 stub shaft with, you know, a 0.130 cable, 0.150 cable, whatever you want to use. Get you a couple of bearings, ball bearings, okay, with the same outside diameter and a 3/16 inside diameter. Get you some maybe ABIC 3 or ABIC 5 bearings to go into those two slits. Okay, now that's probably the right way to do it. Alright, you're not going to have any resistance in your drive line, probably no slop, but you know, to do that you have to have bearings, and I've actually checked. I don't have the right bearings. I'll have to order them, and I want to get the boat going for you guys. So that's just an option. Use bearings instead of the bushings. You know, the correct bearings would actually give you a nice, tidy, smooth running drive line. Okay, but like I said, I'm using what I have. Okay, that's actually more fun to me, figuring out how to make something work with what you have, okay, rather than going and spending $30 on a couple bearings, blah blah blah, the things to do it with. Just use what you have, okay? And it's actually a fun project. I've actually been working on it all day. You know, it's the weekend, trying to figure out how I'm going to go about it, and to me it's fun. Okay, it's a challenge. All right, speaking of challenge, this boat has been a little bit of a challenge, which I've only run the boat 3 times. Okay, 3 times. And it's been a challenge to try to get the boat to do a nice right turn. I haven't had enough time on the boat yet to figure it out. My first tunnel hull boat. Okay. With that being said, okay, I've had a lot of people trying to help me out. I'm talking about, like, oh, with my ball bearing idea that I had that someone gave me, I thought it was pretty cool. I tried it. Oh, hell no. That ain't going to work. Okay, too far out the box. Hell no. That ain't going to work, boy. I've got people telling me the weight distribution. As you guys seen in the last video, with the weight back, the boat flips. With the weight forward, the boat comes out the water. Okay, I've had people, you know, guys telling me that I need to make the motor mount, you know, the outboard the lower unit motor mount pivot. Okay, so I can use positive and negative trim with a second servo, using the third channel on my radio, mixing the freaking servo so that the motor tips up in a straight, goes down in a turn, you know. Yeah, put another servo in it. This boat's 25-year-old. That's all it needs. It's more weight. Okay, the skid fin idea. I've got a bunch of people telling me that's the only way to get a boat running, a F1 boat to turn. Put a skid fin on. I got some more people telling me to put the skid fin on with a second servo, third channel, mix it in so that the damn skid fin raises up in a straight and goes down in a turn. You know, more weight to the boat. That's all it freaking needs. It's an old boat, y'all. You can't do but so much with it, man. You know, if I had like a fiberglass hull, yeah, I probably would consider putting the motor on a swivel, which I could actually make this motor mount I have. It swivels. I mean, I could put another servo in there and make it tip and do all that pretty stuff. Just as, you know, snap of a damn finger, half a day, I could have it working. Okay, but it's an old boat. If I had a fiberglass one, yeah, I probably would consider doing that because it's a really cool idea. I'm just a basic old Big B. You know, I don't even think I got the knowledge to get this thing running right. But I'm going to damn sure try using what I got here at the house, using what I have laying around to get the boat running good. We are going to put the skid fin on, but I want to give it a few more runs before I do, okay? There's a couple more little things that I want to try before I go about putting a turn fin on there, okay? So, I'm going to go ahead and get this drilled out, all right, for that OCTURA sleeve bushing, and I'll cut back in tomorrow for me, a few seconds for you guys. So it's actually the next day. My cable, it's JB welded. The JB weld's cured out. I actually cut down my water pickup so that I can run this 3519 and a 3616 propeller. We'll have some propeller choices. I basically have everything assembled. We're going to take it apart. I'll show you and tell you how I did it. Okay. I know the video is probably getting long now, but it actually spins pretty good. Spins pretty good. It's nice and smooth. Okay, replace the Teflon liner and everything. Before we take it apart, I wanted to show you guys the captured ball ends with the turnbuckles. I decided to go turnbuckle so I can adjust the length on the fly, make it easy on me. Okay, it actually turned out pretty good. Had to do some digging for these rod ends. Works pretty good. Okay, we'll get it installed here in just a little bit. It looks better than this, I will say that. Like I said, it was bugging a few guys, and it looks better. This is a lighter weight solution than the turnbuckle. But alright, so let's take this apart. Like I said, I actually got this JB welded. I cut my shaft down. I cut it down about 4 millimeters before I glued my flex cable in. Okay, I still need to find that freaking, I know I got a 1032 die somewhere, but I need to find it so I can cut some more threads and cut this shaft down. But for the time being, we'll just run it long and double it up with a spacer type deal. Okay, so that's what it looks like. Okay, got our washer on for our ring to keep the bushing in place. Okay, I actually have this guy right here, but we'll still have to run the darn washer even if I use this, just to make sure that bushing, well, I guess it wouldn't come out because it would actually sit on that drive dog. So this fits on there perfect. So I'm gonna take this ring off. I'll show you. This is just a brass fitting. Okay, it actually screws right on. It screws right on there. I don't want to screw it on, but I would actually have to machine down the diameter a little bit so it's nice and streamlined. It's almost there. It's almost perfect. and just cut it right here, you know, make a little ring of it, and we can screw it right on our lower units, and that's an option for you guys. Okay, so let's take it apart. I'll explain to you how I made that OCTURA bushing fit. So I actually upgraded my Teflon liner. I actually used a old used .130 Teflon liner opposed to the new Teflon liner that came with the cable. It actually created a lot of resistance in the driveline, and that might have been why Dale Shin had this liner in there. It was kind of wore in, wore out, and it didn't really create no resistance. So I used a used one, you know. The new one, it was kind of tight in there, so with that bend. All right, so what I did to get this bushing to fit in there perfect, you guys see that? It fits perfect. The two halves go together seamlessly. So what I did to do that is I basically took my bushing on this drill index. Okay, it's a 1/4 inch outside diameter, basically, a little bit of play, 1/4 inch. And I used a Dremel grinding stones. I had a coarse one and a fine one, and what I did is I turned my Dremel on, and I used this grinding stone shaping stone. Okay, it's made to shape a grinding stone. I used this stone to shape and reduce the diameter of my grinding wheels. Okay, so I used the rough one first. It's a smaller diameter to hog off the material on my lower unit. Once I got it hogged off, once I got most of the material hogged off, you know, I did it one by one. I put this 1/4 inch diameter grinding stone. It's perfect 1/4 inch. I put this 1/4 inch diameter grinding stone in the lower unit with the two halves together. I screwed it in, put the ring on, and I basically used this to get the hole perfect. Okay, I'd actually grind it, put my bushing in, take it, you know, take the bushing out, grind it a little bit more, put my bushing in, put my cable in, spin it, make sure everything lined up with the old bearings. Okay, and I got it to where it fits like flawless. It's perfect. Okay, it just drops in there with our two stock bearings. All right, put it together. Okay, then we're going to slide our Teflon liner in from the top. Found that this is like the easiest way to do it. Hold the bottom, slide that in like so. Okay, make sure it seats fully. Put our screw in. Okay, put our screw in just to hold it together. Put our bushing back in there because it fell out. Put the ring on. Okay, and then we can slide our flex cable in. I've already got it set. Oh, that ain't supposed to happen. Bear with me, I'm just doing this on the fly here. It's harder than it looks. I'm gonna hold this together. Okay, so that's going through. And then I got my drive dog set where it's gonna be at. Okay, because if that shaft, if it runs too far in here and it runs up on that bend, then you're going to get some resistance, probably get some melted plastic, you know. So it's actually set perfect. Like I said, I'm going to cut some of this shaft down so it's not so long, and all I have to do now is basically cut my cable. Okay, I've just got an old extra coupler right here, basically going to cut it where that line's at. All right, my motor mounted up, got my captured ball ends, turnbuckles set up here. Don't have a screw in there yet. I don't have Loctite on my coupler. I'll do that off camera. I don't have my drive dog slick cut, but I do have the cable cut to size and rounded off. Went ahead and soldered it so it don't fray when we run our grub screws in. Okay, so show you guys the steering real quick. It does look a lot cleaner. You know, it looks cleaner than this. It's heavier than this. More moving parts than this, more to go wrong, but it works. Okay, like I said, I just used the plastic balls. It's fine, it's gonna work. Okay, that's at my, let's see, I got my steering dual rate turned all the way down. That's how much throw I have at dual rate all the way down. Okay, don't have any side to side play in this outboard motor now. None. Okay, so I'm gonna turn my steering rate all the way up, make sure we don't have any binding. Okay, sounds good, looks good. All right, we're not gonna run it like that, probably run it at its lowest setting. Okay, so I got it all greased up here. Okay, I've actually been using, I've got a big ass tube of this red wheel bearing grease. I've been using it on my boats. I hadn't seen anywhere it works. When I can, I'll actually mix up some marine grease, some blue marine grease in it, make it a purple type grease. But the red wheel bearing grease, it works fine. It works good. And in a pinch, it works good. I'm a cheap ass. I'm telling you guys, I'm cheap, man. I'm cheap. I got a family house that I support. I'm cheap. All right, so let's spool it up here because it actually sounds really good. Okay. Nice and smooth. I cut my water pickup down. Actually put a pretty big angle on it so I can keep the, you know, how low it sits in front of my prop. But a couple of my I'll be able to run more prop options basically. All right, so what I need to do now, cut my drive dog slit. I'll do that off camera. I'm gonna cut this guy here down, do that off camera. Everything's greased up and put together. Okay, she's ready to roll. Just got to Loctite and do a couple little odd things. But it actually turned out pretty good, pretty stoked. Oh yeah, so it don't have no play at all in the drive line. Okay, just a minute amount. Let's feel for heat because I did spool it up. Let's hold it for a second and I'll feel for heat. Which anytime you hold full trigger bench testing, you're gonna feel heat in your drive line. I got a lot of guys that are like, man, I got heat in my drive line. I'm bench testing it. You know, after I let go of the throttle, I got heat. Any drive line, you're gonna have heat if you hold full throttle out the water. So what happens when you put this in the water, that water actually cools down the drive line. Okay, so anytime you're running your boats out of the water, you're gonna have heat, excessive heat. So I don't recommend holding full trigger, even if you have it greased up good. You know, that heat, it does wear items out, you know. So yep, she's ready to roll. We'll see if we can't break it again. Shit, I better hush. So I'll let you guys go. Sorry about the long video, but I just wanted to go over several different ways you can go about upgrading a plastic outboard. You know, it goes for a lot of different ones, not just this one. So hopefully it helps you guys out. We'll see you next time.